Now, how about the people who are supposed to be causing trouble in the town? Are they still in the town, or they've also fled along with the people?
Most of those who started this particular, conflict have left the township, as the police commander told us earlier on. So the township, as we speak now, is full of old people. I mean, aged people. You could see more old men and women in the township with few youth. So most of those who started this particular, conflict have already left the township.
And how about the security situation?
We have enough security men on the ground from the border, from the barrier, police barrier, which is mounted before and after the township. There are enough security personnel even within the township as compared to the number of people. So if I could even say the number of our security men within the township might outnumber the number of residents in the community.
All right, thank you very much, Anas Sabit, bringing us the very latest on the situation in the Brahafo region town of Proto. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. When we come back, we have more stories. Please don't go away. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, the National Diabetes Association is seeking support to set up youth centers across the country to help people living with diabetes. The association's president, Elizabeth Osei, who was addressing the National Delegates Youth Conference at Winneba in the Central Region, said an increasing number of people are becoming diabetic by the day, but hoped such centers would help diabetics better manage their condition and also slow the rate of increase.
According to Elizabeth Osei, president of the National Diabetes Association, the proportion of the country's urban population becoming diabetic calls for drastic action.
Diabetes, the statistics now is 1 in 9 people in Ghana have diabetes, which comes to tell you that about 10 to 11% of our urban population are diabetic. Even in the urban population, because we do a lot of statistics in the urban areas, we are not able to go deep in the hinterland to do rural population, but it's equal even. If you go deep, now we are having a lot of cases coming from the rural areas too.
The national president, also a director at the Non-Communicable Diseases Outfit of the Ghana Health Service, says people living with diabetes should seek help from the association to help them manage the disease.
If we are able to roll this program well, by the year 2020, diabetic children will not have to go to the curative setup or the hospital setup that we're going to look for treatment. The youth leaders in the various communities will liaise with health institutions and community health nurses to provide the children with all their needs. Any child with diabetes out there is a lot for you to learn, and there are people who care. So if you have diabetes, try to contact the Youth with Diabetes Ghana, acquaint yourself with them, work together with them, and then at the end of the day, we have free insulin, free glucometers, free strips, and even sometimes we pay for their laboratory bills. So they mustn't see it as a death sentence. If you know anybody living with diabetes, the person is below 25 years, the person must know there is help.
The medical doctor in charge of the diabetics clinics at the Ghana South Municipal Hospital, Dr. Augustine Kwesi, asks Ghanaians to be wary of the consumption of junk food to avoid developing the disease.
We have to change our way of life in Ghana. The fast foods, these junky foods, as we call it in America, all these foods are bringing a lot of diseases to children. You can see some of the children, they are in these affluent homes and they never do any exercise. They don't associate with anybody because they are pampered and everything is bought from the fast food for them to eat, and they don't exercise. We need exercise. We need socialization. We need to eat our own manufactured food in Ghana here, especially our plantains, cassava, cocoyams, and contemporaries.
Now, an accident victim who medical staff at the Ridge Hospital here in Accra are said to have refused to attend to when she was rushed there last night is said to be in stable condition. The lady, who is estimated to be in her mid-30s, was sent to the facility by a Good Samaritan who was outraged by the attitude of the staff. Joy News visited the hospital where the staff have denied the story. Joy News' Efwa Evans-Chinri, who has been on the beat, first caught up with a Good Samaritan who would want to be known only as Madi.
Narrating the incident to Joy News, Made said she chanced upon the victim lying unconscious in the middle of the road in the vicinity of the Trust Towers here in Accra, with a crowd gathered around her. She said upon inquiring, she was told the victim had been knocked down by a hit-and-run driver. She first headed to the Adabraka police station to report the incident and then returned to the accident scene where she met the injured woman still lying helpless. It was at that point that she decided to send her to the Ridge Hospital in her own vehicle with the police in tow. Made, tell us exactly what happened last night. At what time did you find this woman lying in the middle of this road unconscious?
It was around 10:30, quarter to 11, when I was driving down the road and I saw the lady lying in the middle of the road, and I had to suddenly brake because I didn't even know what it was. I just saw something lying in the road. So I stopped and I asked what's going on. I saw people standing here and they said that the lady had been hit by a car, but the car had hit her and driven off. So I asked, had they called the police, and they said no. So I decided to drive down to Adabraka police station to report the incident. So I did that, I reported the incident, and I came back. The police still weren't here, so I came to see if she was alive. She had a pulse, but she was bleeding profusely from her head, a lot of blood on the street, and but she wasn't awake. So I decided to get some of the guys to pick her up and put her in my car. I said, I will take her to the hospital. So they picked her up and we put her in my car. And we took her straight to Ridge Hospital, which is just down the road.
Okay, so what happened at the hospital?
Well, at the hospital, it was a bit contentious because as soon as we got there, we called one of the nurses. She came and she looked at the woman. She just looked at us and turned around and she went back into the hospital. She didn't pay us any attention. The police followed her.
Did she tell you why she did that?
No, she didn't say anything. So we followed her into the emergency unit and asked her, we need a stretcher. This woman needs help. She's bleeding. She's unconscious. By that time, she was having convulsions. She didn't pay any attention. So the police came. And when the police came, they asked them to come and give her a stretcher. Nobody was paying any attention. They wouldn't mind us. So the police went into the emergency unit and brought the stretcher out themselves. And they took her out of my car and put her onto the stretcher.
At the hospital, however, the nurses denied the story. Though none of them were willing to go on the record, they were enraged, especially by the claim that they refused to attend to the victim because she appeared deranged. The patient, who is now said to be responding to treatment, was asleep at the time of our visit to the recovery ward of the accident center. According to the nurses, she was cranky when she gained consciousness, but they managed to calm her down. No relative has as yet showed up at the hospital, and the patient herself hasn't uttered any words yet, let alone say what she's called. Efwa Evans-Chinri for Joy News.
Now, this story has gained quite a bit of traction on social media, and Joy News' Efwa Evans-Chinri, who has been following the story, joins me in the studio with more on this. Good evening to you, Efwa. So you've been on the beach, you were at the hospital, you've seen this patient. In what situation did you find her? In what condition did you find her?
Okay, she was sleeping when we got there. She had water on her, there was water there was a little food around her, but the nurses told me that she was acting a little abnormally. She sometimes gets up, sits on the bed, they tell her to lie down, she won't lie down. So that's a problem they had with her. But she was sleeping when we got there.
How about injuries? Were there any physical injuries?
Sure, there were. I saw bandages around her feet, her hands, on her head. Yeah, that's what I saw.
Which depicts or suggests that she had injuries to the head,
she had injuries,
and to the hand, and
her
to the
feet as well, yes.
Right. But what are the nurses saying? The nurses essentially are denying the story.
they're very angry. And when I got there, they were like, "Joy for dear, and then you put everything in the air. You won't come and check."
So just that as for you people at Joy FM,
yes,
you don't understand
you don't
issues.
understand issues. You just put everything on air. You have to come and find out what happened.
Which is why we were there.
Yes. So I told the nurse, yes, that's why we're here, to find out exactly what happened. So you tell us what happened. And she was like, oh, she wasn't there. There was some other nurse who was on duty. So she came in and they were busy. So she had to wait just a little, but she didn't have the patience. And
did they appreciate the fact that this was somebody who had been brought in and almost unconscious or probably unconscious?
Yeah, they said that they were willing to help, I mean, at that moment, but they had other patients to attend to. So she just had to wait a little. She didn't understand why somebody who is bleeding has to wait for some time before she's attended to, you know. So they were angry. Though she was angry. I mean, Made, she was angry. She said that, why are they like that? So she, according to the nurse, she said she used swear words there. She started insulting the doctors and the nurses, you know, so that's what actually got them very angry. So that's what happened. But
I know we've been trying to, they didn't speak on record, these nurses you're talking about, yes. But we've been trying to make efforts to reach the hospital administration.
Emmanuel Tadi, yes.
What did you find out?
And he said that unless he's briefed about the incident, he's not going to speak to
So you reached him on phone,
yes,
actually?
I reached him on phone. He said until he's briefed about the incident, he's not going to speak to any media house. So that's what happened.
Right, thank you very much, F4. And F4 has been following the story about an accident victim who was sent to the Ridge Hospital and who the nurses there are accused of refusing to attend to promptly. In other news, a new patriotic party says it will build 350 day senior high schools from 2017 if the party wins power in this year's general elections. The pledge appears to challenge one made by the National Democratic Congress to construct 200 day senior high schools, which is a major component of the governing party's campaign message prior to the 2012 polls. As far as the NPP is concerned, the John Mahama-led administration has failed to deliver on its promise, having built just 4. Communications Director of the NPP, Nana Kumia, tells Kwacha Afreniam of our political desk his party has a grand strategy to make this promise a reality.
You know, this whole idea of John Mahama, the president, saying I'll do 200 schools was in reaction to Nana Akufo-Addo's plan to build 350 day schools as part of the free SHS. You remember that part of the plan was to build 350 day schools. And so John Mahama also brought this thing that I'm also going to build schools. It wasn't part of their original plan.
So Nanado intends building these 300 and how many?
350, yes.
When the NPP comes to power?
Yes, as part of the free SHS.
And so you'll be building 350 in how many years?
4 years.
That's achievable.
If you commit the resources.
How many are you going to build each year?
Look.
And then how many are you going to build each year?
350, 4 years. It's a matter of commitment of the resources.
How many are you going to build in 4 years? You have 4 years, first term. How many are you going to build each year?
Well, divide the 350 by 4. You'll get the amount that will build, the quantity that will build in the year. But you see, like I said, the whole thing is about managing the economy properly, being prudent in your spending. Look, the NDC, in the year 2012, they took $65 million of our oil money. You know what they said they were doing with it? Capacity building. So look at the monies that they take from our oil money that they say they are doing capacity building. In 2012, it was $65 million 1 year. Now, if they had decided to invest that money in secondary schools, building day schools, because each of these day schools is about 3.5 million or so, but they decided to commit, and this is in the official records. If you look at the report to Parliament on the use of the oil money, in 2012, $65 million for 2013, another $40 million. They say it's for capacity building. That monies alone, supposed to be for capacity building, could build 350 schools in 4 or 5 years.
You're also watching Joy News Prime. We have more stories coming up for you, including the open day held by the Ghana Armed Forces, where one child vowed never to return onto a plane again. But up next, we have business news. Right, time now for business, and Emmanuel is here. Good evening to you, Emmanuel. Yeah, I know you have a bit of a cold, but I know you can manage. Okay, thank you very much for making it. I know it's a holiday and everybody else, typically, because it's a holiday and you're...
Is it unusual that I'm in suits? Because I realized that everybody else is in...
Well, yeah, it's a holiday and we like to take things a little easy.
Well, so maybe this is more business-like dressing.
Or so you insist on being business.
Exactly. I mean, we can Africanize business, maybe.
We can Africanize business.
You think so?
Anyway, you carry on with this.
All right, so it's time for business news. The excise tax stamp policy was not implemented today as initially planned because government wants to first address all stakeholder concerns. The policy would see manufacturers and importers of products attracting excise duty affixed stamps on their items. Government now wants to engage more stakeholders before implementation. But the Joint Private Sector Business Consultative Forum, the group of business associations that embarked on a 3-day strike over tax stamps-related concerns, says this is not enough. Speaking on Business Live earlier, the spokesperson John Awuni said only a complete halt in implementation would suffice.
For me, it is not a starter. I think that the government must kick this thing out. Whoever went and did it has done a great service to this country, and it should never come into force. My suggestion is that it's going to affect inflows at the port. Already, business at the Ghanaian port has dropped dramatically. Do you want to continue to suffer that at the port? The point is that the excise tax stamp go around Africa. How many countries are running it? Look at their economy. Do that research and let those who are calling for it tell us in Africa how many countries are doing excise tax stamp. Look at the inflows at the port. Look at the level of business activity. It is absolutely inimical to business.
Meanwhile, Senior Budget Officer at the Tax Policy Unit of the Finance Ministry, Julian Harry Thompson, has allayed concerns that the excise tax stamp policy would increase the cost of operations of manufacturers and importers.
The tax stamp, we don't want to give it out for free. Obviously, I've given you a number of characters we have in there that makes it not free.
How costly?
It's not too expensive. I can tell you that for a roll, which comes like in 10,000 pieces, it goes for like, I think, 140 Ghana cedis. 10,000 pieces of a roll, it comes like one. And we are still talking to the minister because the section 6 of the Act says that the minister can subsidize, the stamp cost. So we are still working together with the minister, and the minister may decide to give us a 50-50 agreement. That is what we told the industry players anyway. We reduce it by half.
So government takes care of it.
So government is still going to bear the burden of 50% of the stamp. This shows how dear the policy is to us as government. Because if this thing works, we know what we are going to get.
Okay.
And we know how it's going to be very good for the industry players as well. Their products are going to be at least safe for them. They also stand a chance of recognizing or realizing some revenue at the long run. It shouldn't be a short-term measure, but it's a very long-term measure that will bring on board so many good things for the both parties.
It is, however, unclear when the policy would be introduced, but Joy Business gathers it is likely to be next month. Away from that story, some telecom companies are now joining hands with commercial banks to promote the culture of savings by roping more of the unbanked into the banking population. This is through the promotion of mobile money usage among the unbanked population. MTN Ghana and Access Bank have in this light held a mobile money accessibility program at the Medina Market to register headquarters for mobile financial services. MTN's mobile money implementation manager, Eric Yeboah-Siama, told Joy Business the initiative is to encourage the culture of savings among the headquarters.
We started this project Kaya from Awoblosi, where 120 Kayayes were engaged, and then the purpose was to take them through the importance of savings. And we believe that with mobile money is one of the best ways that people can save conveniently. We just want to create that culture of saving through mobile money so that their livelihood can be better. By end of year, we hope to get at least 5,000 on Kayaye registered and consciously saving through mobile money so that they can have a better livelihood.
So the latest financial inclusion survey by the World Bank's think tank consultative group to assist the poor, CGCAP, indicates the proportion of unbanked has now reduced by half. This, it says, was driven primarily by the thriving mobile money service, which currently has 4.4 million active account holders. Now, competition in the 4G internet service space is driving operators to do more to satisfy customers. The latest entrant, Busy, has in this light opened an ultra-modern sales and service experience center at the Ring Road Central here in Accra.
The new Experience Center, located within the company's refurbished building, is equipped with the latest technology to give customers superior 4G experience and customer support. The facility has a special area where customers can explore Busy's range of 4G data products and services.
It takes up to about 11 to 14, and so businesses, small business of about 5 to 10 employees can use. However, I will recommend the indoor router, which takes up to about 30 people. And so you buy for the business and you can connect to your staff. Additionally, a business can also get what we call shared data. And so you can buy and give internet access to your people. So in terms of our speed and our coverage plus affordability, you can do everything you need to do. You can Skype, you can run your conference call. So you didn't need to travel all the way to, let's say, China to meet with your business partners. Within the comfort of your home or in your office, you can do that. We are bringing the world closer to you wherever you are.
Opening the facility, the president of the Association of Ghana Industries, James Asare J., lauded Busy Ghana for its pioneering role and high standards in internet services in the country.
Yes, technology is very important to businesses. And, in this age of globalization, businesses run effectively when you have efficient technology and then you are abreast with that level of technological infrastructure. What we are seeing here today with the relaunch or rebranding of Busy, it gives a good opportunity for businesses, especially members of AGI, to tap into this ICT innovation, to reinvigorate their businesses.
The official opening of the Experience Center is part of the launch of Busy's retail network across Accra and Tema.
United Bank for Africa, UBA, has a new group managing director in the person of Kennedy Uzoka. He replaces Phillips Udoza, who is to retire on the 31st of July after 2 terms of leading the UBA group. Mr. Uzoka's appointment takes effect from the 1st of August, subject to the approval of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The new group managing director has over 2.5 decades of experience in commercial banking strategy and business transformation. Mr. Uzoka served as Deputy Managing Director, UBA Group, and was also the CEO of UBA Africa, responsible for the group's operations in 18 countries across Africa. UBA has also appointed Victor Osadolo as the Deputy Managing Director. Mr. Osadolo, until now, served as Executive Director, Risk and Finance at UBA. Now, still going on, more companies are taking advantage of technology to meet the demands of consumers. The latest is Innisfly Africa, distributors of Innisfly products, which has showcased a new sized addition to the paint range to be released onto the market. The company has also launched a scheme which would see distributors that sell over 200 of the products better equipped and empowered with their innovative technology for Ghana and Africa. Michael Sojodin is the CEO of Innisfly.
The whole idea of bringing our distributors to the venue was to acknowledge their presence with us And secondly, and to implement the new strategic plan, like how to drive further business. And also, in sales, it's very much required to have an incentive scheme in place. So that's why we called all of our distributors to acknowledge all their efforts and also to introduce our incentive scheme.
And that wraps up the business segment for tonight. Thank you very much for your company and keep watching the news. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji-Wiafi.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, the Executive Secretary of the National Council for Tertiary Education, Paul Dandu, has stated that the committee of experts which worked on the conversion of some polytechnics into technical universities only make recommendations and did not at any point make its findings binding on government. His comments come on the back of allegations leveled against a Deputy Minister of Education, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, that he masterminded the inclusion of the whole Polytechnic into the first batch to be converted into universities. The Deputy Minister has denied this, insisting that government relied solely on the recommendations of the independent committee. But Mr. Dandu, who was speaking at the congregation of the whole Polytechnic, also maintains the expert panel always maintained its work was only advisory.
That vision, as we all know, all developed countries have pumped their resources to developing TVET education. It was made clear also that following that decision of His Excellency, a committee of technical men and experts was formed to draw the roadmap for converting the polytechnics to technical university. And the committee also came out with guidelines and criteria by which each polytechnic will be assessed and appropriate recommendation made. If you read the statement, it also indicated that the National Council for Tertiary Education thereafter constituted an expert panel to go around all the polytechnics using the agreed criteria and guidelines in the technical committee to assess the readiness of each polytechnic. And this was done. The composition of the team, as you can read from the papers, was broad-based, and their personalities are not in doubt. After that committee presented its report to the NCT, it was emphasized in the statement that the expert panel's report was only advisory to the NCT. We set it up and decided to report to the NCT as advisory recommendation, which is not binding. The NCT
Now, the rector of the whole Polytechnic, meanwhile, Professor Emmanuel Sechi, has lamented the outrageous increase in utility tariffs is taking a toll on the smooth administration of the institution. He explained that a huge portion of the school's internally generated funds is now used to pay utility bills, which, according to him, is draining the school's coffers. All right, so we'll bring you that story a little later, but we're moving on to the open day at the military, the Ghana Armed Forces, which happened today. And the Ghana Armed Forces Open Day is an event most children look forward to, as it gives them an opportunity to get up close with the activities of the military. This takes place every March 7, a day after the Independence Day parade, which often happens to be a holiday for school children. This year's event, however, happened to be special in its own right, and the children who showed up got quite a thrill in the air. though a few others left vowing never to return.
Most children tend to be very fond of soldiers and often grow up wishing to be one. The open day ceremony at the Burma camp here in Accra is therefore one opportunity many of them relish. So they troop to the defense headquarters as usual just to get up close to the men in uniform. The officers and men of the Ghana Armed Forces were more than willing to show off their weaponry. Not even the deadly military tanks were off limits. Others yet got an exclusive tour of the presidential jet, which was fascinating by all standards, though not as fascinating as those who made it onto the Casa aircraft, which for many would have been their first time on an airplane. They appeared all calm and composed until the plane took off. A few minutes into the sky, the shows died down a little, until the pilot decided to maneuver the aircraft. To help calm down the toddlers, the older children started singing and urging on the pilot, whilst others peeped through the windows to catch a bird's eye view of Accra. All through the flight, Squadron Leader Andrew Safo addressed the mainly young passengers. The flight was short though, and after about 10 minutes, the plane touched down at the Air Force Base, where it first took off with the mostly first-time flyers, having quite a bit to say about the experience.
Well, it was good, but dangerous.
Dangerous? How dangerous was it? You were buckled up?
Yeah.
And how dangerous was it?
Getting down, the style he was doing is not good at all.
So you were very scared? Yeah. Okay. How was the flying experience?
Very good.
Were you not scared?
No.
You weren't scared? How was the experience like?
Very nice.
Weren't you scared?
No, I wasn't scared.
You really felt safe on board?
Yes.
There was one, however, who vowed never to return onto a plane again. How was the feeling?
It was good. I was somehow feeling scared, but not that scared.
So would you come again? Would you come again?
I'm not sure I'll come again.
Why? Are you so scared you don't want to come again?
Yes, I was scared.
Now, Wing Commander David Nkansa of the Ghana Air Force later explained to newsmen the general purpose of this Open Day event.
The Open Day is part of military activities that we undertake. We have been undertaking since the Kufuor era to open our doors to the military. Hitherto, the public had been afraid of the military, and it was thought wise by the military higher command and our commander-in-chief then to open up the military garrisons, especially on Independence Day, where we all celebrate our freedom, to open the military doors to the general public to see some of the activities that we undertake in protection and defending of our country.
Up next, we bring you international news. All right, so what's coming up on Joy News Interactive? Ifakwa Singh is here to tell us all about it.
Hello, Israel.
Before you get on with it, you know, Emmanuel Abuajiri was here earlier on. He was wearing a suit. I know he was all suited up, and I was telling him it's a holiday.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
And you get it. I mean, we're all in African outfits.
But I think it's also Ghana month, so we'll be expected to wear more of our African print clothing as the month goes on. But let me tell you what's coming up on the interactive segment. It's the Independence Day holiday edition of the show, and I must say it has been one of the trendiest moments that marked the event yesterday. Have been trending on social media, from Independence Parade Day brochure mistakes to pictures of photojournalists being carted around the Black Star Square in a tipper truck. We're asking, what were some of your memorable moments of the Independence Day event?
They gave us a real good show, and they showed us that women, whatever men can do, women can do, and can do it perfectly without any mistakes.
Also trending on social media, which street in Accra do you think encapsulates the beauty of the city? Israel, what street?
Well, I know where you're driving.
Have you seen that picture?
I've seen that, but let's hold on. We're just telling them we're going to be bringing them that.
Yeah, so a citizen thinks that, you know, the postal company DHL could have shown Accra in a better light. We will be bringing you that picture and more on the interactive segment. Please stay with us. Ijo.
Yes, certainly. So F4 Aquarius will be joining me in just about 30 minutes, and he's just going to be taking us through the interactive segment. But also coming up in the bulletin, we have sports, and then Miss G will also join me with entertainment. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to Joy News Prime, and a quick run through our top stories. Rainstorm displaces hundreds in northern region town of Yendi.
Storm, according to officials of the
Proto residents flee town over possible outbreak of renewed violence. And the Information Services Department apologizes for error reading Independence Anniversary brochure with yet another error on its statement of apology. That story will come up in a bit. In business, implementation of excise tax stamp policy fails to start today as planned as finance ministries meet more stakeholders to address all related concerns. And hundreds of school children get the thrill of their lifetime, including a bird's-eye view of Accra as the Ghana Army opens its doors to the public. Now, back to our story on the whole Polytechnic. And the rector of the Polytechnic, Professor Osei, has lamented the outrageous increase in utility tariffs. It's taking a toll on the smooth administration of the institution. He explained that a huge portion of the school's internally generated funds is now used to pay utility bills, which, according to him, is draining the school's coffers.
Addressing the 16th congregation of Hope Poly, Prof. Sechi, who was unhappy with the ever-increasing utility tariffs, wailed that officials of the electricity and water companies have been on the neck of the school's management to settle its utility bills. He, however, called on government to intervene as the school does not have the means to do so.
There is the ever-increasing utility bills, which has gutted our finances. The electricity bill has been on the increase. Water bill has been on the increase. And the managers of these utility facilities are always pursuing us for their monies. The issue is still being discussed at the Ministry of Education. It is our hope that government will help in addressing this particular problem.
Prof. Sechi also mentioned that the Polytechnic is in dire need of lecture halls and pleaded with the GET Fund to release funds for the completion of lecture halls projects that have stalled over the past years. That notwithstanding, Prof. Sechi reiterated his call on government to lift the embargo on employment in the public sector, explaining that some lecturers have retired while others are deceased and there's an urgent need for these vacant positions to be filled.
We are trapped in a system, in a policy where embargo is currently laid on replacement as well as recruitment of new staff. Let me take this opportunity to make a special appeal to government to consider this particular challenge. It is a very difficult one, and we'll be grateful if government will give us clearance to replace those colleagues, especially those who are on retirement and those who are passed on to glory.
The Volta Regional Deputy Minister Francis Ganyaglo urged the graduates to take advantage of the conducive environment the NDC government has created for entrepreneurs and become job creators rather than job seekers. The 16th congregation witnessed 888 students graduating from the school. 871 graduates were honored with higher national diplomas, and the rest, 17, honored with Bachelor of Technology degrees. 60 of the graduates obtained first class, 405 obtained second class upper, 401 obtained second class lower, while 13 managed to pass. Sunday Agbede was adjudged the overall alumni best student. A report by Fred Kwame Asare, Joy News.
Right now, the Information Services Department, authors of the independent brochure that was plagued with errors, has apologized for the unfortunate incident. In a statement signed by Acting Director Francis Kwarting Arthur and copied to Joy News, the department said it took full responsibility for the misrepresentations captured in the brochure. Ifwakwa Harrison has been going through the errors, and she's going to be taking it. She's going to be telling us all about it.
So that's what I woke up to this morning. Okay, all the photos going around about the errors on the Independence Day or in the Independence Day brochure. Okay, it started with a snap on Twitter. That showed the order of events, okay, and under it, it said addressed by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Ghana, as you can see. So that's error number 1, okay, that's what...
Now, before you move on to the error, I'm imagining how President Uhuru Kenyatta would feel when he saw that.
And there was that picture of the two heads of states, President Mahama and President Kenyatta, talking, and President Kenyatta was sort of holding the brochure, and you know, people have been trying to caption it.
Did he just make me president?
I don't know what kind of conversation was going on there, but there's been that moment that has been captured. Okay, so thinking that was the only error, that wasn't the only error. Now, lots more people started posting photographs and
right, so this is the image where
image that I just talked about.
Did you just make me president
of Ghana? I said, maybe we should switch positions for a few months.
Because Ghanaians give me too much trouble.
Exactly. But let's move on. And this one is saying Ghana-Kenya relations, okay? And it's a historical background of Ghana-Kenya relations. I'm going to read it. As Africa surges like eagle into the globalized sky of the 21st century. So that is the first sentence, okay? As Africa surges like eagle. I mean, something is missing there, like an eagle, you know? So that's another typo that was made, but it wasn't the only one. Let's see what else. The coat of arms.
All right.
Okay. The heading was the coat of arms. I don't know if the boys in the back can quickly get that up for us, and we see it, and then it talks about the coat of arms and leaves out an S and mentions the coat of arms, and then goes on to say the coat of arms of Ghana consists of a shield divided into 4 quarters, and goes on and on. I think that's okay. That's a typo on that one. And then they talk about Ghana's independence, and then they say Ghana has a checkered but interesting history in the true sense of the word. As if by divine design, Ghana is strategically positioned on the equator, making her the center of the globe.
Okay. So, I mean, there were quite a number of them. And I'm sure you could go on. In fact, there was one. Okay, so there's one other.
There's one
that's actually on the screen now.
That's actually underlined and says Ghana is now recognized as having attained low income status in the world. I thought we're a middle income country. We are low income status in the world. So yeah, that is what has been happening on social media. A lot of people lambasting whoever put this together, and then Information Services Department
and how it couldn't have been detected before it was put out. Because there should have been some proofreading, and for somebody to say, okay, there are errors in there, let's correct them before we put them out, or hand them over to the dignitaries which we had invited.
And then Information Services comes out now with an apology letter, and then it's dated the 12th of January 2016.
Okay, so that was the... people are on Twitter and on social, people are describing it as the comedy of error. So there you see the first one that came out that said
they apologized to the president and Ghanaians for this great...
So let's read it. The Information Services Department wishes to apologize to the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and the people of Ghana for the misrepresentation in the event brochure of the impressive 59th Independence Day Parade at the Black Star Square. Of course, so they said everything else was but impressive 59th. Yes. And then the department which authored the content of the brochure accepts responsibility and wishes to unreservedly apologize for the development. And it's signed by Francis Kwarteng Arthur, Acting Director, Accra, January 12th, 2016.
Yes. And then, of course, a lot of people now are like, what is this? There's a mistake in the apology letter as well. What's going on there? And so they issue another letter, correct the date. But, of course, our social media teachers have come and said that they made it March 7th. They're saying it's not March 7th. It's supposed to be March 7 without the TH. And so it's an ongoing debate. So that's what's been happening. And we'll talk about it some more. We'll hear from you actually about this in the interactive segment, which comes up in a bit. All
right. Thank you very much, Ifwa Harrising. So that's been the issue with the era reading brochure for the Independence Day Parade, which came out. And there have been corrections, or there's been an apology, which apology also happened to contain another error. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break at this point. When we come back, we'll bring you entertainment with Miss G. Please stay tuned. Time for entertainment, and Miss G has joined me. Thank you very much, Miss G, for joining me. Even though it's a holiday, and I'm sure you'd love to be somewhere else.
You know, I wish I wasn't here, but because of the love I have for you, you know, I couldn't stay.
And your fans.
And have
and your fans all over the world.
And sure, couldn't have you stay here all alone by yourself.
But with this hairstyle, I'm wondering. Okay, this is a new one. What's it called? Mpese?
No, I still like the Kakai look. You know, that's more like super scary. You know,
super scary.
Yeah, but there's a remix to this song, you know. Actually, at the Pulse 10 Up, Samini decided to give us a remix of the song.
Big up SM if you're there. Big up Big Nation if you're there. Big up Iron if you're there. Yeah, big up ETF and the entire crew. Big up everybody. You know one thing? There's something between high grade and SM. And it's all gonna be like that. So anytime we meet on any platform, just know it's going down. Sometimes I see your general sing some of my songs on stage. So before I go, I'm gonna do a song on one of his beats.
You actually get the lyrics if you can run them by me.
Okay, so what I heard, because there was too much noise in the background, but it was Kai, 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 Kai. He prefers cigarettes to weed. That's what he said in the song.
Kai, 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 Kai.
Chatawale, I come like Kai.
Yeah.
I'm overdosed with cigarettes. Super scary. You know, that's what he said. Then he said the part that says, there's a part that says, Dagati, I come like a warrior.
Okay.
You know what he says, Kai, 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 Kai. Dagati, I come like a warrior. Like, that's what I could hear in the song, you know.
So, Samini Dagati.
Yes, Samini Dagati.
So, Dagati, I'm coming like
a warrior, you know. And he's overdosed with cigarettes. He said in one part that he prefers cigarettes to weed. So, he's overdosed with cigarettes. So, that's Samini.
So, cigarette alone is enough to get him coming like Kai, Kai.
Kai to you, like a warrior.
Then if he gets weed,
it will be overdose with something anyway. But on that same set, you know, Miss V decided to come like a dancehall queen. Let's see how she comes in. Okay.
Well, I like the part where she.
Yeah, she's feeling like the dancehall queen.
Yeah.
You know how we used to say Samini is the dancehall king, Chatawale says the dancehall king, and then Stoneboy and some other people. Now it's now happening in the ladies' camp.
So
Miss
Miss
B
B
says she's a dancehall queen. Kaki comes on and says, "Who is the dancehall queen? Answer me."
Dancehall queen. True of us. And the dancehall queen. True of us. The unstoppable. True of us. The unstoppable. True of us. Tell me undisputed. True of us. And you know what I say? Some little girl won't fight for your throne.
You know, I've been very quiet about this whole who's queen of dancehall and all of that. And I just think, you know, I mean, it's a game, so let's play. Yeah.
So who's the queen of dancehall?
I mean, everybody said it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is freestyle. For all the little girls in town. We don't see what we want.
You know, when I saw the image, what came to mind is if Aisha decided to go into music, she would look like this.
You mean our own Aisha?
Our own Aisha. If she
Hello,
decides to
Aisha
go into
Ibrahim.
music,
How are you doing?
yeah, if she decides to go into music and decides to, you know, do this, she will look like.
Okay, then I'll become the Miss V then, because then I'll be the small girl trying to take a position, you know.
And she will be the Tundra.
Serious one. Anyway, okay, so on the same Pulse Tenor Party episode, one of the emerging dancehall artists decided to come on stage dressed in Kokonte and Gigi, what do you call it? Kokonte and Ghana. So do you remember that? The school uniform.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you know, Kokonte and Ghana soup. But he told us why.
It's high time that we move from the normal mentality or the misconceptions that people have about dancehall artists and artists in general. Because it's the street kind of music, people trying to relate to the artists and then the people listening to it are illiterate. And then somebody like me, I have a degree, but I had to put it down because of the passion, you know. So I wanted to paint that kind of picture that anybody here, even if you are not going to school, you still need to learn something, at least, that is going to make you original, that is going to help you survive.
Hello to my family fellow, but still I live in the party world, them life shot like Mario. Fabulous Petro, decorated deco.
Right, so for those of you who will be watching, you know, who are not in Ghana, the outfit he wore actually is the school uniform for public
schools, yeah.
For public schools here in Ghana, and so it's a very popular one.
Yeah, so back in the day we call it Kokonte and then Ghana soup. Anyway, all right. So the Komsi Beach party came off as well.
You guys have been really having fun.
Oh yeah, we've got to have fun. Ghana is 59 years old. What else can we do? All right, so first of all, I bring you highlights from the Komsi Beach event. Okay, so those were highlights from the event. Also at the event was Kumahood actor Kukumenu, and this time around he's been talking about how he thinks that Kumahood movies actually sell Ghana better, you know, out there. And he says that he likes the fact that Barima says he's not doing any local movies.
Oh, really?
When you travel, there are people who don't understand the Chi language, but they are able to follow the stories in our movies. So the Chi movies help especially for Ghanaians living abroad. I support Barima desire not to feature in local movies. He's selling Ghana. He's going on international platforms, and he would always say he's from Ghana, and that is pride for all of us.
I didn't quite get his analogy though, but yeah, well, that's fine.
Well, that's his opinion, right?
That's his opinion.
Anyway, so the president didn't leave barima out on the Independence Day speech. You know, he had some few words for us Ghanaians concerning barima.
When 14-year-old Abraham Atta won the Independence Spirit Award, he was not just representing his country, he was being applauded by all of Africa. Though I'm sure we applauded the loudest because he's one of us and he's a face of our proud country, Ghana. This is the pride and unity we must foster in ourselves every day.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We should foster that pride and unity in ourselves every
So I'm from Ghana, where barima is from. You know, you need to bask in his glory. But you know one thing that also happened at the Independence Square that took a lot of people by surprise. Some entertainers were in, I don't know what that uniform was. What's it called?
Yeah, well, they were dressed like you know, ex-servicemen, the colonial soldiers.
Okay.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. And so they decided to...
And they showed up there. I mean, well, it added some spice to it. That was Bobo Color, right?
Bobo Color.
It added some...
Mr. Beautiful, Chewa.
Some spice to it.
Yes, Jacko and the rest of them. Kukumenu himself again. There. No.
Okay, cool. Cool, nice.
And finally, guess who is not happy that Ghana is 59?
Oh.
Yes. There's nothing to be happy about, according to Yvonne Nelson. You know, there's absolutely nothing to be happy about. She says, hashtag, this time I will not do some stuff, but God must intervene, you know, something like that. She has a hashtag to say she's not happy. She says, it's sad Independence Day. It can't be happy. You know, hashtag Ghana, hashtag God help us. And she has another one that says, hashtag God must intervene or God should intervene. So she's not happy that, you know, Ghana is 59.
God help us. Hashtag God help us. So, well, yeah, I mean, you can look at pictures like these, and you can look at developments in the country, and you can look at some of the things that are happening and say that, and have a reason to say that, yeah, we don't have anything to celebrate, but we do have some other things to celebrate. We have other things like Abraham Atta to celebrate.
Exactly.
We have people like Kofi Annan to celebrate. And we have lots of Ghanaians who are blazing the trail and who are doing great things in Africa. Bright Servants, for instance, and that he is innovative tool that he came up with. So there are lots of people who are doing things.
Yeah.
So yes, there are things that should make us sad.
You forgot Sarkodie taking Ghana to Harvard, you know. Yes.
Well, yeah,
we've had some debates that there were lots of students in there, but he's been to the Harvard Business School. I haven't, so I am proud that he's been there. You know, a lot of things to actually celebrate.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things.
Even Yvonne Nelson, we are happy that she went to the BBC, CNN, spoke about Ghana and all that. So there's a lot of things we have to be happy with. It's getting better.
We can only hope it gets better. Is it getting better? I'm not sure.
Okay, so
but we can hope that it gets better.
Yvonne has a partner here.
No. I'm saying there are things to be happy about. There are things that would make you cry, no doubt about it. True. But I'd rather lean on the positive side of things. Sure.
And that's how I get you to do a rap for me on Friday. Because we are leaning on the positive side of things.
You're keen on this rap thing.
I really need you to show the people that you can rap small.
No problem. You get it.
All right. So that's it for entertainment. Thank you, Israel, for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, too, for coming, even though it's a holiday. So up next, we bring you sports. Stay tuned. All right, so Gary L. Smith is here to give us a holiday edition of the sports.
When you guys were mentioning the Ghanaians who are doing things, why didn't they mention Israelite?
What have I done?
I don't understand.
What have I done?
Hey, you don't know you're a celebrity in London, innit?
Oh, no, I didn't know. You tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Seriously.
Oh, I didn't know. No, when you went out there, you saw you met lots of people.
Do you know Israelite? I say, yeah. Anyway, so holiday edition of the sport, we have some news about the national boxing team who say that they are waiting for their monies as usual to be able to go for Olympic qualifiers.
So typical, yeah?
Yeah, so typical.
And people, I mean, Yvonne Nelson and people look at that and say there's nothing to celebrate.
Yeah, you are saying we should celebrate
well, I'm saying this. Yeah. I'm saying there are some positive things. Yeah, there are lots of things that will make you cry.
Yeah.
But there are lots of things.
I mean, like brochures that have spelling garment. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so I have the sport.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us on the Sports on Prime. Hello, I'm Gary Al Smith. We begin with boxing, and the Black Bombers, that's the national boxing team, are due to go to Cameroon to take part in qualifiers that hopefully will lead them to represent Ghana at the Olympic Games. Now, those qualifiers are due to take place on Thursday, but today is Monday and they are still in Ghana. Added to that, where they are camping, which is somewhere in Accra, has problems of water shortages and electricity, lack of electricity as well. Plus, they are camping 4 in a room, and it's really deplorable. We spoke to Gideon Quarter, who is the president of the Amateur Boxing Federation, to give us a take on this matter.
The preparation, I think, is in the hands of the trainers, and they've done very well. The coaches have really done marvelous work, because the time frame, when you look at the time we came to power, up to about now, what they have done to prepare these boys to this level, I think is quite enormous, and I really appreciate them. We are on course. We're hoping that the government will just come to our aid by tomorrow, so that we know we have the full confidence that we are going for these qualifiers. When we don't go this Wednesday, we should forget it.
Why?
Yes, because that's the date. Arrival date is 9th, and then technical meeting follows. Thursday, the program starts. Tomorrow is arrival.
So, have you heard from the Ministry of Youth and Sports?
Yes, we've heard from them, and I'm hoping that tomorrow, like they said, tomorrow, let's see tomorrow what brings out.
Okay, so how much money do you need to embark on this trip?
Right now, as I speak, I think the GOC has bought some tickets for us, remain some. But they are also, I mean, trying to make sure that we get there and qualify. And I hope tomorrow too, the ministry will do. I don't want to mention or preempt certain things, but I believe tomorrow, if things go well, we'll get there.
Okay.
Gideon Quarter is the boss of the Ghana Amateur Boxing Federation. Moving over to football, and the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, the PFAG, have partnered with the Royal Dutch Association to educate children on hygiene.
The essence of this event is to pass life skills through football. You know, we are here at a place in Kolegono whereby you see all the kids on the pitch, but before they went on the pitch, they took care of their hygiene and their sanitation, and to wash their hands when they go to the loo. They wash their hands before they eat. So the hygienical aspect is very, very important. And this message, we are passing it through football and through the legends, and which is also implemented through the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana. And you see the kids are happy. They have the ball in between them. And we are encouraging them to take good care of their education and to take good care of the hygiene. We are very happy that our partnership with Football for Water and the Royal Dutch Association and the government is up and standing, and we are happy once again to be one of the main contributors to the hygienical aspect. This is not the first time we have done it. We are in 134 schools. We have done it in Sowede, in the Salem Park. We've done it in the north, in a lot of regions. So maybe you just heard about it, but it has been ongoing, going since 2 to 3 years.
Footballers off the pitch doing their bit. Footballers on the pitch doing their bit as well. The Ghana Premier League Match Day 3 came to us across all the centres on Saturday and Sunday. And even on Friday, actually, there was one game. But the standout game of the weekend obviously happened in Kumasi, where Kotoko they were held 2-2 by Mediama, who were coming in from their base in Takwa. And this was at the Baba Yara Stadium. Look out for some really good goals. And afterward, we come back and get the post-match reaction.
A better whoosh now. Again. Michael Osei. Can Ghana score?
Tertiary upping the scoring. What a costly mistake there from Mijema, but that will not count there. Kumasi Asante Kotoko have scored.
3. It's now a free kick, just on the edge of the penalty box. There is Malika Kowa. Can he score? Malika Kowa. Oh, beautiful! That is glorious.
You know, he's tried, you know, to deliver a top draw of a free kick, and
well, that could be an unlucky scenario here. Oh, what a goal! You can actually find some words to describe this. 2 costly mistakes for Mijema at the back. 2 goals.
Mijema. And now it will be a chance for Mijema.
Bismarck Opon has shocked Kotoko once again. You remember him during the FA Cup? What a goal! What a goal in the Premier League this season is something else.
2-2 it finished, and before this game, Kotoko fans were looking forward to a great performance because don't forget, they had not played in the last match day due to the fact that their opponents, Ash Gold, had a game in the African Champions League, meaning that Kotoko had enough rest. But still, David Duncan refused to take blame for the defeat. He put the reason why he felt that things didn't go well on the doorsteps of poor officiating.
Well, I thought right from the beginning, I mean, the way officiating was going really unsettled us. We didn't know what intention, you know, the middleman had coming into the game. I mean, quite a number of threatening, I mean, free kicks in threatening positions, you know, were awarded Mediama, out of which they got 1 goal out. So in situations like this, you really do not know exactly what to tell your players. I mean, whether to take it easy, whether to play above themselves more than 100% and all of that. But I thought goals that could have been prevented, you know, were what we conceded. Albeit we also had some fortuitous goals. And I thought at the end of the day, 2-2, for me, is a fair reflection of what took place, apart from, you know, the initial erratic, you know, officiating from the center referee.
4 goals recorded in Kumasi. We also had 4 goals in Tema, 5 goals in Sogakope, and also a goal in Techima. Let me take you through all the results of match day 3 of the Ghana Premier League. It was the weekend where we had our first goalless draw on Saturday, and then we had a couple more on Sunday. On Saturday, Ash Gold versus Chelsea gave us that ball draw in Obuasi, and then like you've seen, Kotoko 2-2 Mediama on Sunday. Dwarfs played 0-0 with Hearts of Oak. This game was heavily attended in Cape Coast. We understand from reports that about 13,000 people crammed in the stadium. We don't know how they managed to do that. Bechem United also won by 1-0 against New Dibiase. Techiman City had a great result against Adriana Stars, who are struggling, while our Stars are still top of the league despite drawing 0-0 with Liberty Professionals. And Wafa, the highlight of their 5-0 win against Azakets was that Samuel Tete, the 20-year-old sensation, scored 3 goals. Inter Allies also drew 2-2 with Dreams FC in a game where Dreams FC and Inter Allies both finished the game with 10 men. Still on local football and former Hearts of Oak goalkeeper trainer Bukari Damba has urged the Ghana Football Association to develop local footballers for the national teams. He was responding to critique that there are too many locally based footballers in the national side heading into the AFCON qualifiers, which are coming when the Black Stars will play Mozambique home and away.
Be done. And I believe that a lot is being done. A lot of institutions, a lot of reforms are taking place, and you can see it. The FA is coming with a lot of reforms. You understand me? And I think gradually, we can't get there in one day. But my main focus is looking at Coles football, looking at the academies, because we need to nurture the talents. Let's nurture our talents. Let's groom them. to involve our talents rather than always relying on importing from outside international football players. How can we encourage the young up-and-coming local domestic players to also be part of the booty? So I think now, in my opinion, let us put a lot of emphasis on development football, emphasis on the youth.
Away from football and to the United States, in the NBA, it's getting better, it's getting hotter. The Lakers thrashed the Warriors 112-95. Isn't it? My producer was just saying in my ear that if there was any team in the NBA you expected to beat the Warriors, it definitely isn't the Lakers. My life's like that. Thank you very much for joining us for the Sports on Prime. Don't forget that we have more coming up tomorrow. We have an exclusive preview of the UEFA Champions League. But if you want more news, head over to our following social media accounts at Joy Sports GH on Twitter, Joy Sports on Facebook, and myjoyonline.com/sport. That's the sport. I'm Gary Smith.